advisor and supply chain expert, and my Moody's. Welcome back to my podcast, The Morning Mood. I am here with Tiana. We're starting out cracking up because every time we start a podcast, we spend like the first 10 minutes just talking, and it's where all the good stuff is. And then we hit record. So today we started talking. I'm like, that's it. We're going to hit record. So welcome back, Tiana. I'm glad you're
Thank you.
here.
Thank you.
So today's topic is self or ego, the freedom from self, the freedom from ego. And I don't think either one of us really prepared for this because we just spoke out on and we're like, oh, dang, we're talking about self today. That's a good one. So, Tiana, you just read some sort of post. What happened?
Yo, okay. I might turn my head because I'm going to have to read some of the bullets.
Okay.
So my girl Leslie posted this morning about burnout. And she was like,
Mm.
you got to question a few things for yourself.
Mhm.
And when I read this list, like my spirit, like I felt like I was in this mirrored 360 situation, ceiling, floor. It was like you couldn't hide nothing.
You're in the clown house.
How has constant praise shaped my identity around performance? What from my past made me feel like I had to earn my worth by doing more?
Mm-hmm.
When did I learn that peace equals laziness and stress equals success?
Mm.
Who taught me that if I stop, I'll fall apart or be forgotten? What am I afraid will happen if I just let go? Holy smokes, this self moment, like the real for me is probably 10 months ago, I would have bypassed this, wouldn't have still had any clarity.
Oh, you would have been like, oh, yeah.
That part.
Yep.
But since I'm no longer working and the freedom that I have endured, it has hit me like a brick
Mm-hmm.
that yo, yo, I thought that leaving, I had okay, a cage, I've walked out of it. All right, wonderful. I'm in my new freedom liberated life. It took nearly a year
Oh, yeah.
for me to realize that it was far more than just the leave,
Mm-hmm.
right? I've lost significant weight. It's as if that weight was that because of how easily it went off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking over 60 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
This is someone told me I should just write the name of the last organization on the weights. Um, right? It's the capacity, mental capacity to even receive the visions of what's next for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's the like my soul like
Mm-hmm.
is has been freed
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like just opened up an awakening for me
Mm-hmm.
this morning that just I'm like, "Oh, you talk about freedom of self?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow. It's like this whole shift is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, unexpected. I've been just in this season of unexpected and receiving whatever comes. And I'm like, oh, wow, you hit me hard this morning.
Yep. So all of those, what's interesting to me is that, when we talk about self and ego, all those things that Leslie talked about in that post are all external validation, praise. Here's my title. Here's who I am. Here's who I work for. All of these things that we put on a resume are
Come
my
on.
value.
Come on.
And, and look, been there, done that, probably still there on some level at that I have not completely washed myself away from it. But I had a very acute moment when I quit corporate and I got invited by Narvar, the founder of Narvar, and I helped him get started when he was at Nordstrom,
Okay.
and he hosted me at a event in New York, big distribution conference. to help me get my consulting business started. And so I had been out and not been a corporate employee for probably about 3 months now, right? So and I went to this conference and everybody was like, "Oh, hi, I'm so and so. I'm a director, I'm a vice president, I'm a CEO of so and so. Who are you?" And I was like, and it was like an existential crisis for me on a conference room floor. I'm going to be straight up with you. I had not
Mhm.
anticipated this question. I
Mhm.
was not prepared. I don't know why I
Yeah.
wasn't prepared, but I was not prepared for this question. And I was like, who am I? Who I don't fucking
I don't
know.
know.
I'm like, I don't know. For my entire adult life, I had been manager of, director of, vice president of, CEO of, something of, and a company that gave me value. Amazon, Nordstrom, Rogers and Brown, Kuehne+Nagel, Expeditors, whatever it was. Like this is who I am. And then I walked away from that, and I'm like, I have no goddamn idea who I am. It was so bad at one point. I obviously lived in Seattle. I had a lot of friends at Microsoft. Microsoft introduced this thing that if you sent an email to someone outside of your company, you had this
Yeah.
big warning at the
Warning.
top.
Yep.
Warning, sending to external. I went to my people at Microsoft and I go, look, man, I'm having like an existential crisis every time I send an email because it's only me. So they are only external people. Can you please make this go away? They did. They took it down, or they made it optional. I can't remember what it was. But I was like, but I really remember that moment that I realized that my ego had been running the show.
Come on. Come on.
That was the conference room floor at the D3 conference in New York City. Thank you, Narvar. Is the
Wow.
moment I realized that my ego had
Wow.
been running the show.
Wow. And
Yeah.
to call it your ego when it would and when I what I've discovered through this is like it's not something that we plan for. It's not
Oh,
something that
no.
we
No.
set the tone for, but
Mhm.
it's the term I've
What happened to it?
been using today is it's the cage that I created for my safety, for my sanity that was invisible even to me
Oh, yeah.
so that I can actually get through.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I do wanna stop and pause on ego a little bit. Like, ego does serve a purpose.
Mhm.
It is what keeps us safe. It is the thing that says, "Hey, don't do that," or, "You should not do this," or, whatever it tells you, it does have a purpose. But the problem is when ego takes over and we start making decisions just on ego. And
Come
that and
on.
that what that looks like, and I think you'll say this too, is that, I only going after jobs for promotion or for the title, only doing something for the money. When I left Amazon, I can't find the document. If anybody out there has it, I wrote a document. People asked me to write a document and I left Amazon on what kind of advice. And I wrote these 10 things. And one of them was, if you're doing it for the money, you're a whore. There's nothing wrong with whoring. Nothing
Nothing,
wrong
but
with
know it,
whoring,
but
but
know it, but
know it.
know it. That part.
That's the part. If you
Mhm.
are here, and that's one of my big things with Amazon was that at some point I was there just for the money.
Golden
I was,
handcuffs.
as we called it, the nesting investing, just trying to get through the next 3 months,
Mhm.
so that we get I uh,
Yep.
joined early, so we had that quarterly vest. That went
That
away.
part.
That
That
went away.
part. That part.
Yeah, and so, and that was ego because it was, I can't live without this money. What am I going to do if I don't do this? Who am I going to be if I leave Amazon? And I think you and I both talked about, I took a year off between after I left Amazon, and it
Yep.
was horrible. I was miserable because I didn't know who I was.
It's interesting. I spent that year solely on the other side of my brain. I
Oh,
literally went into creative work. I was
oh no.
painting, making jewelry. And if I wasn't doing that, I was in the car traveling, visiting, literally driving up and down the country so that I
Right.
wouldn't be able to sit in what am I doing? Who
What's
am
gonna
I? What
happen
am
to
I
me?
doing
Who
next?
am I? Who's gonna value me? What's my value? No one is gonna hire me. I took a year off. Why would hire someone who took a year off? Like, let me tell you something. If you came to me and you're like, I took a year off because I needed to like heal and get my head straight, I'd be like, oh, come on in. Like, we have a job for you because you
Welcome.
know better, right? You've
Yes.
been there.
Yes. Yes.
So that's how, for me, the ego and ego shows up for other people. And, people also get stuck on the term egotistical, right? So
Yo,
ego doesn't always look like an asshole. So I
come
just
on.
want to say that
Come on. Come on.
your ego can take over and you can still be the kindest person, right? You can still be, but it's what's motivating you and validating
Who
you
you are.
is the key.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
That part.
Yep.
I appreciate you pushing on that definition because for me, when I hear ego, it's a negative connotation.
Right.
So to hear it in the place of helping you understand or giving you value of whom you are and who you are to the world,
Yes.
that makes perfect sense to me.
Yep.
And that clarity of it's this right now thing, not how I live my life kind
Yes.
of thing.
Yes. And you're right. There are two things. And when you can get in touch with your ego and you
Mhm.
can understand what it is, and you can be like, okay, I understand what my truly understand my motivations here, you can do something unpleasant for money for a short period of time and
That
not
part.
lose yourself. I think that's the piece for me personally. I can't speak for you. You can tell me how
Mhm,
you feel about it. But
mhm.
I would lose myself in this identity and this thing that was out there.
Yeah. I haven't that has not been f that has been I've been very vocal of over the years. I choose to be here. I
Mhm.
could go work elsewhere
Mhm.
and make 3 times what I'm making, but I
Mhm.
choose to be here. Like, I
Mhm.
caught on to that. I don't know when I did, but it was earlier that I'm
Mhm.
like, all money ain't good money, all positions ain't great positions. Um, when I chose to I was I was leading a warehouse and customer service, all operations
Yeah.
for an Amazon subsidiary before I went to education.
Yeah.
And when I went to education, I was the ops leader of a single school that
Mhm.
just had 2 grade levels.
Mhm.
And everyone's like, "How did you transition from that to this?" And I'm like, "This is giving me life. I'm with this is giving me life. It's not about the paycheck or
The
anything, but it's about the
position or the company or the other or the reviews or the adoration or the awards
none of
or the
it.
any of that stuff. Yes.
It's about how can I still be me, bring the knowledge that I have to this institution where I am now focused on the children, the
The itty
teachers in
bitties.
the classroom. It's just a different space for me. So
Mhm.
I got to that place, but not everybody understands that value either. Because
They
all they
don't.
can see is you gave up that.
They do. And a
Right.
lot of people will ask about that. That's interesting that you bring that up because, you and I both left Amazon at a time. I know I left a lot of money on the table and I
Me
left
too.
Amazon.
I
You
sure
probably
did.
left a lot. I try not to do the math because
It's not worth it. It's
it's
not worth it.
painful. It's very painful. The math. But anyway, we make decisions with the information we have at the time.
Exactly. Exactly. That part.
So, but I knew I was leaving money on the table. I knew that I was leaving a fortune on the table. But for me personally, I wasn't doing the work that I loved, and I wasn't doing it because I loved it. I
Mhm.
was doing it because it had to be done.
Mm,
It was a job that they gave me.
mm.
I didn't like my leaders. I didn't feel supported, and for me personally, I had run out of runway at Amazon. There was no other there I had conquered all the international frontiers. They were all done, all
Right,
conquered, had laid the plans for how Amazon was gonna dominate the world. There wasn't much left for me to do
right.
except maintain. and
Mhm.
that's not something that I enjoy doing.
You're a builder. You're a
Yeah,
builder. Mhm.
I'm a builder. You're a
Mm,
builder, I'm a builder, I
mhm.
don't maintain.
Yep.
I get bored, I get crazy, and I start making problems. I'll be honest with you. But there was that big ego death of like, who am I now? And then to go to Nordstrom where I didn't have a lot of recognition and my skill sets didn't transfer exactly the same and they wanted something different from me from what they wanted. It was completely a bewildering experience. But
Yeah.
what it did is it humbled me because when I went to Nordstrom, I started to work with people who were very humble and who had worked for Nordstrom for decades and decades and decades and decades and were very successful, very wealthy, very well respected people. And they
Mm.
were incredibly humble. Now that's at the top. There's that shitty layer in the middle. I'm talking about the,
Always, always, always. But
but
that's a difference in leadership that
there was a
speaks
humbleness.
volumes. Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
and it was believe it or not, most of Nordstrom was not about ego, and that's kind of where a lot of this started to come together for me, where it was like, it was about what's better for the customer, it was about we're curious, we wanna learn, this is a new space for
Mhm,
us,
mhm,
like,
mhm.
it was a totally different environment, but it was that humbleness that got me about Nordstrom. To leave it better than you found it.
That is actually one of the values of the education organization I joined.
Yeah,
Leave it
leave
better
it
than
better
you
than you
found it.
found it.
And
Yep,
when I saw it, I was like, "Oh my goodness.
yeah.
This right here is
That
a
is
place to be."
that is a Nordstrom philosophy. I believe that.
Mm,
I can't remember. I believe if Bruce said that. Don't quote me on that. One of the original Nordstrom founders. And that is their philosophy is leave it better than you found it. But again, in order to do that, like you have to let go of ego. You have to let go of self. You have to let go of all of that. So Tiana, talk us through like what are some of the things that you can do to kind of check yourself on this?
ah. Oh, reframe it's almost reframing your identity,
Yeah.
and that takes work. That's not something
Does.
that's easy. It's figuring out what it is for you to protect your spirit is
Mhm.
what I ultimately would want to get to.
Mhm.
So, I think of, um, if you are in I love that you were in a humble environment, but if you're in a toxic one, think of just
Mhm.
a different space. Yo, there's something about the art of actually leaving. You're not giving up, but you're
Mm.
protecting yourself. So reframe who you are and so that you can be your true self. That's just number 1.
Yeah.
Um, Lord. Number 2, I feel like my number 2 is the same number 2 in every conversation that we have, which is seek an insight, gain understanding, like ask the questions, give yourself some clarity so that you can be your true you. Like that
Mhm.
mirror that I talked about at the beginning of our call,
Mhm.
like put it up, put
Mhm.
it and
Yeah.
see what's really going on for yourself
Yep.
and don't hide in it.
Yeah. Check your motivations. Like for me, that's the big one. Is and here's something that's so basic and it's actually how the podcast sort of started. Like are you doing something that feels good? Does it feel right? And I know like people out there they're like, "Oh, that woo-woo bullshit she talks about all the time and her feelings and all that stuff." But there is an element of this of when you're truly have let go of the external validations, I'm doing it because mom said, or I'm trying to make the family happy, or because I
Come on.
need that big flashy car, or whatever all these external validations are about,
Yep.
it's really when you can get rid of that and you can say, I'm doing this because I feel like I have to, because I want to do good, because I want to give back, because whatever, when it's that, that is where the true work is. And that is where the beautiful work comes from.
It's just that opening, and you don't understand how much of being able to give brings you joy,
It does. It does.
releases you
Hmm.
from the pressures, the pains, all the stuff
Mhm,
is exactly that. Open
mhm.
yourself up to that.
Yeah. The external get what is motivating you? Why are you doing it? How is this feeling to you? Does it something feels good? Does it give back to the community? Those are the things that I think are true signs that you're working that something. And I don't look anybody out there who's making car payments and house payments and credit card payments and you're on the hamster wheel, been there. I've run my marathon on the hamster wheel. Let me tell you something. Big motivation staying employed at Amazon was those first class vacations. I ain't gonna lie about it.
Come on. Come on.
First class to Hawaii all the way around. You can't afford that shit if you ain't working at Amazon, but you also don't need it if you're
You
not
don't.
working at
You
Amazon.
don't. You don't. And here's the thing, that hamster wheel can stop.
Yep.
So I just wanna offer that to you. The hamster wheel can stop.
I think you and I
And
are testaments to that. Like, we got on this hamster wheel. We ran that hamster wheel for a while. I got a shoe closet that'll speak to it. I got a Real
Mhm.
Real account that will speak to it. I mean, funding, I can't tell you how much business I've funded on my selling my shit on Real Real. But
Yes.
so we've been there, and I think that's what we want you to hear is that it's okay if you're on the
Mhm,
hamster wheel.
mhm.
Don't beat
Yep.
yourself up about it,
Nope.
but start looking for exits.
That part. That part. And with that is owning your worth, which is my number 3.
Yes, that is the other one, and but that can be hard, and maybe we need to have another podcast on that one
How
about worth.
look, that is another one, but it's like, when I think of it is I think about owning my capacity.
Yes.
I think about when I think of freedom of self, and because of the hours, for me, it's the hours I've worked or what commitments I've done for someone else, something else, etc. It's being able to pause and say, actually, I can't do that right now. And
Mhm.
owning that space and that time for you so
Yes.
you can actually build that clarity into whom you are,
Yeah.
that's that piece.
Yeah.
None
I
of it's
agree.
easy. None of it's easy,
Oh,
but
no,
it's
no, no.
step by step, little bits.
Little steps, as we keep talking about, baby steps, baby steps. Excellent. Well, great conversation about self and ego today. Thank you very much, Tiana, for your perspective on this. This was a tough one. We knew it was going to be. And to my Moodies, thank you for being here. More coming soon.
Have a good day.